So what should the 6th edition of Dungeons & Dragons look like? I'm going to give you my take on taking 20's approach to this whole thing. I love a lot of the videos that Cody does. He does not afraid to do some spicy content and everything. So I'm really excited to dive into some of these thoughts here because a lot of these we're synced up on and a lot of these we're not. It's always really interesting to me to see what other people think that 6th edition of D&D should look like because I am currently in the dead middle of making my own version of 6th edition through this Kickstarter that I'm releasing. It's going on literally right now. We're about halfway through of Alcanner's Almanac of All Things. It's an expansion to 5th edition, and a lot of these rules and a lot of these rule systems can be applied to other tabletop role-playing games, including 6th edition. I would love to see what that looks like and see which of these rules can apply and which ones you can tweak and add to that game too. As I've said before, everybody wants something different from Dungeons & Dragons. Cody is taking his stance on what things he would like to see in 6th edition and what tweaks and changes he'd make to 5th edition. Alcanner's Almanac is literally my version of that, doing the same thing. So if you haven't seen it already, links down in the description. It's absolutely huge right now where y'all are unlocking more and more stretch goals. Check it out because it's only a limited time offer during the month of July. And of these 6 points that he already went through, a lot of these are already going to be in Alcanner's Almanac, but let's go ahead and dive in. The first thing he talks about seeing in Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition is no more bonus actions. Whoa, hold on. That sounds crazy, but if you look at Pathfinder 2nd edition, they have a 3-action system where you can spend 2 actions for some things, 3 actions for some things, or just 1, which first time I saw that in Pathfinder 2nd edition, I absolutely loved that, and I really dove into it and started making little homebrew hacks, but I feel like that was too big of an overhaul to stay true to 5th edition, and this really would be a 6th edition thing. And if anything of the list that he said, I completely agree with this, and I was super excited to see an action system similar to Pathfinder 2nd edition, although it has some issues that has to work out too. But the bonus action itself, a lot of things that were clunky about some of the things that Cody went into, I haven't made videos on this yet, but I totally could. Comment down below if you want to see my take on action homebrews when it comes to actions, reactions, bonus actions, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the things he went into can be fixed with simple rule tweaks of just allowing people to do what would make sense. The best example he gave is a normal druid would be able to cast Healing Word as a bonus action and then Wild Shape as their action. But then a Circle of the Moon druid can Wild Shape as a bonus action. So now it's really clunky because if they cast Healing Word, they've used their bonus action and now they can't. At my table, no. You can, as an action, use a bonus action for sure. Now you start to get into, what kind of things could you break the game with? But I have never had anybody break the game by using 2 bonus actions. And then there's that rule about not being able to cast a spell as an action and a bonus action in the same turn and stuff. And ultimately, I feel like that rule is a little clunky, and a lot of times I just waive it entirely for my tables, depending on the balance of how strong the spellcasters are and stuff. But you can always scale up the balance of things on your end as the Dungeon Master. Basically, what I'm saying is a lot of the things that make bonus actions really clunky can be fixed by just allowing things to happen that would make sense at your table. But I completely agree that they're weird, and another thing that Cody didn't talk about in his video is I do think it's weird that people have a bonus action, and new players especially have a bonus action, but then if you don't have anything that takes a bonus action, technically the bonus action is useless because you can only use a bonus action on things that are bonus actions. But as a Dungeon Master, even on that point, a lot of times when a player describes what they want to do, I might have them spend a bonus action to be able to do that, since that plays into the whole big picture of the action economy. Moving on now to number 2 is minions. I have already made a full video, I'll link that down in the description, on minions and swarms and a whole bunch of different homebrew mechanics I have of how to run minions just in general from 4th edition, and some really big twists and tweaks I've made to them, like some of the stuff that Cody said about AoE mechanics. If you AoE a group of minions, they are just going to die. Even if they fail their save and take half damage, they have 1 health. So I have a lot of things that go over in that video and this topic about minions, but a lot of this stuff on minions and swarms, which is also another really cool thing that not a lot of people talk about, are swarms. I think swarms are just rats and bats and bugs and stuff and super lame, but you can make swarms pretty cool too, combine it with minions. All of that is actually in that video, and even more stuff I'm expanding on in Alcanner's Almanac too. But I totally agree that it is the best thing from 4th edition and should 100% make it into 6th edition. Number 3 is having less magical players and have more of the magical focus be on the items. And on this point, I both agree and disagree. Here's what I mean. I agree at not having players be so over the top magical that they have superpowers and stuff just by level 3, and they have all these grand abilities that they're able to do and stuff. I think it's really cool when players start off at low capabilities and they're able to gradually increase over time, and if the campaign goes on long enough and things build up enough, they really do become super powerful. But I think a lot of the time games start to break whenever players get become too magical and have too many things they have access to. The DM runs out of things that they can throw at them that's actually a challenge, and it starts to limit what they can do. But the part I disagree with, and this is just my opinion, of course, as is all of these things, but I could totally see how people would think this part is cool. But for me is I don't want to put a lot of the magic into the magic items. I really do like it to be on the players. I have an entire homebrew system. It's one of my most popular bonus level up perks. In fact, in Cody's video, he said, oh, we could just call these things perks, which I'll get to in a second. But I was like, hey, bonus perks, that's what I do. Bonus perks are whenever your character levels up, you give them some cool extra ability that player can do. It's them doing it. It's not some magic item they found. So many times as a dungeon master, I want to give players a reward, but if I give it to them in an item and a different player takes it, then it feels weird if I like force it on them. So giving them rewards and bonus perks to be able to change what they can do so they are doing it feels empowering and feels cool. So tying it into magic items. But another thing Cody says is the attunements, and having only 3 slots of attunement is kind of clinking, isn't enough. Myself, for me, I open that up. There is no limit to how many attunement items you can have in general. Now, again, different groups are different, but I let my players attune as many magic items as they want because first of all, I can control how often and how many of them I give out. And what I can start to do as a dungeon master, interesting mechanics that they don't know about, is if they start to attune to 4 items or 5th item, what if some wild magic surges start to happen? Or what if the magic items start to work differently because the magic is overwhelming, too much. They start to lose control of the magic items they have. That seems way more cool than no. You have 3, only 3, can't do a 4th one. That sounds totally lame to me. So why not open it up and give them access for more things when it has to do with attunement? I'm making a video about specific attunements here in a minute, and I have a bonus level up video coming out here soon too. But taking a big step back, I could totally see how magic items being the focus could be cool, because then it's like mixing and matching them, and when one upgrades, which one do I have, and they have to choose which one, or do I let go of this one, or sell this one, or give this one to a different player. But overall, I could totally see why some people really do like magic items. I myself like to put the power into the players, but giving into a magic item, they could lose the magic item. The magic item could be cursed. The magic item could lose its power and they have to recharge it in some way. They could be stolen, all this different kind of stuff. And they reach a certain limit. Maybe they can interchange them with another player wielding a magic item, which would be really cool. Another thing Cody said in the video is giving villains magic items and using them on the players. I do that all the time, and that is super cool to amp up these magic items to be really cool. Number 4 is to separate feats and certain upgrades that characters get into 2 categories of combat and non-combat. He went on a whole rant here at this point. I was like, yes, the whole time, because it feels really bad when a player wants to do this certain thing in combat, but then they can't dive into this role play thing they've been doing, or they're doing something in their downtime when it comes to, I've had a player dive into pottery before and they really wanted to work on their pottery. It would be really cool to give them a feat having to do with pot, but what is that going to do in combat? How is that going to make these big, like, I don't want to restrict cool role play moments whenever they're really enticed to do combat stuff. So I think they should, yes, be completely separated. In 6th edition, it would be really cool to see them into 2 separate categories that aren't just like you have to search through them. So if you are wanting to find role play stuff, you go to this one. If you want to find fighting stuff in the combat, you go to this one, and you can really see and give them opportunities maybe every other level. So every 2 levels, you get a combat upgrade, and then 2 more levels, you get a roleplay upgrade. 2 more levels combat, 2 more levels roleplay, back and forth like that. But ultimately, that's why I do my bonus level up perk system, because I myself do that as the dungeon master. If they're killing it in combat, I'm going to give them as a bonus level up perk that they don't get to choose necessarily. Me and the player have a conversation with it. I have plenty of videos about it, and I'm going to do a video coming up in about 2 weeks here. If you can't tell, I'm obsessed with bonus perks because every single person that I've talked to that's tried this at their game table, they've loved it. Their players have loved it. I have 2 videos before I've gone over it. I'm about to release another one because I have a complete PDF of bonus level up perks with over 160 bonus level up perks. In the month of August on Patreon, I'm going to have 200 different bonus perks for every single class, every single subclass, and an entire section just for role play perks. Just like Cody's talking about here, these role play perks are really cool things to give your players. So whenever your players, let's use this thing practically. Whenever your character levels up, they hit level 4 and they pick an action feat or something. They pick some sort of feat that gives them combat prowess. Cool. Give them a bonus level up perk based on how their character's been role playing, acting in towns, things that they want to do in downtime, whatever, and give them a role play only bonus level up perk. So that's going to be coming out here soon. Stay tuned for that video. So the biggest thing that I want to see about this in 6th edition is for them to do it themselves instead of me having to make up a bonus level up perk system, because I feel like there's different times where I want to be able to give my players different stuff, especially when it comes to role play or combat. Maybe they're really focused in role play and I want to give them something on combat. You see the idea. I want to have 6th edition give some sort of thing where they can sprinkle in little customizable perks every now and then. Number 5 on Taking 20's list was to make intelligence matter. I have 2 quick homebrews for this, one for intelligence and one for the thing about saving throws that he talked about. But if you want to see more about certain parts of these or see a specific video about one of these expanded on, I could expand on all of these things because this is really just an overall big picture view. So comment down below, let me know. Whatever your intelligence modifier is at character creation is how many additional skill proficiencies you get. At my table, you're able to pick skill proficiencies, languages, and tools. And if your intelligence modifier is a 3, you get to pick any one of those and spend them like points. Sure, pick an extra language, an extra skill proficiency, and now you have an extra tool you're good with. Or you can pick 3 languages or 3 skill proficiencies. Whatever it is you want to do, you're so smart, go for it. But if that seems like too much and you're giving too many proficiencies away, you can have it cost 2 points of intelligence for a skill proficiency if you want to value those higher. But in general, a lot of times I just trust my players with picking what makes sense for their character. And when it comes to saving throws, I completely agree, and I absolutely hate that every single saving throw in the entire game pretty much is a wisdom saving throw. That just feels bad to me. Strength saving throws barely ever happen. Intelligence saving throws super barely ever happen. It's rough. Now, strength saving throws are pretty obvious of where those are. Dexterity saving throws, you're having to dodge something, pretty obvious as well. Constitution saving throws, your body having to fight off the effects of something, or if it's like undodgeable and you get hit with something, it's a constitution save to see if you can fight it off. But then almost everything else is just a wisdom saving throw. And charisma saves seem to be random and inconsistent on what they're about. And intelligence saving throws is pretty much only for illusion type stuff. But here's how I handle intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. For intelligence saving throws, it has to do with your brain, not necessarily like your mind and thoughts and stuff. That's more so like your personality, but your perception of the world, your eyeballs, tied into your brain, what they see. So yes, intelligence saving throws for any type of hallucination, visual stuff, but anything that deals psychic damage to you is pretty much an intelligence saving throw for me. There's a couple things, again, I'd have to do a big video where I dive in and do a bunch of research on this to show specific examples, but there's tons of stuff that cause psychic damage that is not an intelligence saving throw. I feel like those are almost you'd have to show me an example, but I feel like anything that causes psychic damage would be an intelligence saving throw to see how bad it was, especially if it's affecting your mind, your memory, or any type of vision type stuff that's going on. And then you have charisma saving throws, which I feel like is anything having to do with your personality or taking over your thoughts and actions and things that you do. Any sort of domination, charm, anything like that is a charisma saving throw. For me, I think I'm gonna check. Yep, dominate monster is a wisdom saving throw. I think a dominate anything should be a charisma saving throw. I think this category, instead of just lumping everything into wisdom, wisdom should be the catch-all, but it shouldn't catch literally everything. Like, have intelligence be what I just talked about. Have anything that has to do with dominating somebody, changing someone's thoughts and actions and their person, their personality, their who they are, what they're doing. That should be a charisma saving throw because it's affecting them as a person, if you want to think of it like their soul. And then any other magical effect, which still would be about half or more of the saving throws, yes, would be a wisdom saving throw. Number 6 on the list is multi-classing fixes. Oh my God, there are 2 pages in all of Dungeons and Dragons about multi-classing, something that should be so huge and such an awesome thing that you can do. Cody makes a great point that I never really thought about, and I completely agree with, is spellcasters. If you are a sorcerer and you want to multi-class into warlock or bard or cleric or any other full caster, you aren't restricted at all. Your spells are completely fine. Yes, some other things happen about what spells you have access to, but you are completely fine as far as a full caster goes. When it comes to martial classes, extra attack, I've literally, the first time I ever played this game, I was a barbarian and I wanted to pick a level in fighter because it made sense, because I was getting beat up a lot. I wanted to get second wind. I thought some other things were pretty cool, but then I was like, oh wait, when I hit level 5, I will be drastically underpowered, and it felt so bad being a brand new player to this game where I was like, why can't I just have like it? I'm a fighter and a barbarian. Why not? Why can't I do that? So the thing that I have for this is another thing I just did a whole overhaul on is my martial overhaul weapons armor upgrade. But my solution for this is something I did a month ago and I released over to my patrons. They get a whole bunch of different stuff that I released. It's also available on the website. I did an entire martial overhaul to the combat system, to the weapon system, and to the armor and shield system, all in one. It's really the biggest thing I've ever done. When this video goes live, it is going to be available still on Patreon until the end of the month, and then it's available on my website. A little sneak peek here is at level 1, if you're a martial class, only if you're a martial class, meaning you have a total of 1 level in martial classes, you're able to do a martial dodge, a martial disengage, and a martial dash, being able to do a little bit of something of what each of those have to do and still have a little bit of combat potential. So it doesn't feel so bad when you have to dash a little bit more because you're just 1 square away and you have to dash to get there and then nothing happens. There's going to be a little bit of moments there that martial classes will be able to go a little bit more and get some extra action in there. And level 3, I threw out some more upgrades too. And at level 5 is when you can just give martial actions their extra attack, and it would just make sense, especially in the big picture when it comes to multi-classing. But specifically to address how I handle extra attacks and multi-classing in general, I have a video where I go over this entire thing. I'm going to do a quick version of it right now so you can talk about, in fact, I'll just use the fighter and barbarian example I just had. I was level 3 barbarian, level 0 fighter, okay? I hit level 4, here we go. Level 3, I'm gonna use, here we go, 3. Okay, I was level 3 barbarian, and whenever I leveled up to level 4, I wanted to do 1 level into fighter. Okay, and I would get all the perks and features or whatever of a level 1 fighter. But then that's the problem, is that by the time I hit 5th level, if I wanted to go into fighter again, I go into fighter, and now I'm 5th level, but then I'm still 2 levels away from getting extra attack, that 5th level feature of a barbarian. So, rewind, okay, I'm technically level 4. Okay, so keep this in mind. In fact, I'll rewind 1 step farther. I'm level 3, right when I level up to level 4, and I choose to spend that extra level into fighter. I also level my barbarian class up to level 4. I don't automatically get those things. I just could have got those things. Stay with me here in just a second. Now let's say I level up 1 more time, I hit level 5. So now I'm gonna add 1 to each of them, right? And I can choose which one I get. I could choose either to get the level 2 features of a fighter or the level 5 features of a barbarian, because as I was leveling up in fighter, my barbarian was still leveling up. And this is a really cool thing you can do to allow, in fact, at the beginning of the game, I've done this before for players that had to make it in their backstory, or if all the players kind of agree to do this. Again, this is a Dungeon Master's call, but I've had players be a fighter and barbarian. I don't give them both feats. I get them, they have to choose like a buffet table as they level up. So let's just say, rewind all the way back to when I started my character. If I was dungeon mastering for myself, you could have a fighter and barbarian of 1 player be a fighter barbarian. At level 1, they would have to choose which one of the features they want to get. Sure, I'd pick barbarian. So I get the level 1 features from barbarian, but I don't get them from fighter. I level up to level 2, and now I get to choose, do I want the level 2 features of barbarian, the level 2 features of fighter, or go back and get the level 1 features of fighter? And I have a choice, right? I would choose one of those 3 things. Let's say I choose the level 2 features of a fighter. Cool. I level up again to level 3. Now I can choose the subclass of the barbarian, the subclass of the fighter, or go backwards and choose the things I didn't. And you can keep going back and choosing things and really be excited about all the different stuff you can get. So if you keep doing that, when you get to level 5, you can easily pick extra attack because all of your classes are leveling up together. And if you think this is too powerful, too strong, or too broken, then you can implement things and restrictions on it or whatever. And if you really want to see the whole system, I did a whole video there. So if you liked all my crazy thoughts on this, let me know, hit the like button and stuff. I really do like making videos like this because I love to see other people's perception of what they want from 6th edition, what things are kind of off to them, because all of us are going to want different things, understandably so, from our role-playing games. Whatever edition that is you're playing, there's gonna be something that's just not right for you and something you'd wanna fix, which is why I did Alcantar's Almanac of all things. There's only gonna be 2 weeks left on this thing, and I really wanna see and have this be as big as it possibly can be for you guys to have the most valuable resource with a whole bunch of ideas for you to customize. I'm not telling you how to play your game. I'm trying to give you options so that you can make your own best version of Dungeons & Dragons, whatever edition it is. I can guarantee you this is gonna be applicable for 6th edition. Whenever the heck that thing comes out, is going to be a ton of different ideas of just how to run things. There's entire sections for how to run travel, how to be and do social encounters between your players, between you and your players, different things to add to combat to spice it up, which would be system agnostic for anything. You could use this for, I've seen people, a lot of different backers that on Kickstarter have sent me messages from entire roleplay systems that aren't even Dungeons & Dragons. So I hope it's the best resource I can for you guys. I'm excited to see what this becomes. This is my version of 6th edition that I want to share with you guys. So until next time, stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.